International, I'm called Morinzi. We begin with our top stories. DOUALA city dwellers remain disgruntled to the hike of lodging in the city, blaming government for allowing landlords to increase rents at their whims.
DOUALA is listed as one of the
in this edition of Newscast. And many low-cost houses constructed by Cameroon real estate visit to some of the low-cost housing facilities to give a picture of how these buildings are failed to receive a facelift. In this edition, we'll tell you more of these low-cost houses. And in Health Tonight, we reactivate in Yaoundé. The health area under Jongolo Health District is among the 11 others in the central region concerned with this feed campaign. An uncomfortable situation, especially those in flood-prone areas like BP City. Inhabitants continue to suffer from untold floods, even if it rains just for 10 minutes. More in the following story.
This is the face of some neighborhoods in DOUALA after 10 minutes of rainfall. This is BP City, a poorly drained, low-lying quarter in DOUALA. The population watched with disbelief how the runoff was swelling in volume as the fingers of the clock ticked. One could take this road for a river. Yet the situation is worse. It's difficult for vehicles and bike riders to cross over. This woman tells me it is a normal phenomenon in this area when it rains. They were blocked after the gutters overflowed. That's how it is here. When it rains, the whole area is flooded. We are used to the floods here. We don't know what to do, nor what to say. The floods are blamed on the non-respect of construction norms. Buildings have blocked waterways, diverting the floods to the neighborhoods. We blame all of this on poor construction. Look at the road. The road was poorly constructed. We don't have potholes, but when it rains, everywhere is like a river. We have complained several times to the authorities that this is what we experience here, but nothing seems to change, and we keep having water every moment, even just 5 minutes of rainfall. Imagine if it rains for an hour, we are all dirt. With the present situation of 5 minutes torrential rainfall can cause untold damage in most of the neighborhoods in DOUALA.
And many low-cost houses constructed by the Cameroon Real Estate Corporation and leased to the population are putting up the facing view. A visit to some of the low-cost housing facility will give you a picture of how these buildings failed to receive a facelift. In the following report, our reporter Saleh Sherifa finds out who is responsible for maintaining these low-cost houses. Her story.
This building is not an abandoned structure. It was built by the Cameroonian government and placed under the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing, managed by the Real Estate Corporation, to facilitate access to decent housing. Tenants of these buildings say there is a need for regular maintenance of these buildings. I have been living here for the past 20 years. Nothing has improved, but it has been from good to bad. Before, there were agents in charge of the cleaning and maintenance, but now everything is abandoned. Residents say when it rains, the area is flooded. It is with the help of these planks that tenants can access into their homes. There are times when you are around these houses, you can't breathe well due to the bad odor. I propose they put in place a committee in charge of maintenance after every 1 year. Neighbors equally affected, as they say the darkness from these buildings frightens them. The rooftops leaks And when people were just moving in, everything was okay. But now it's just abandoned, and even at the entrance, there is water everywhere. They are not well taken care of. Those of us living next to these houses around 4 p.m., everywhere is dark and ghosted. Dark staircase, leaking rooftops, and overgrown grasses makes the building ghosted. These tenants have called on the Cameroonian government to put in place a management committee for the maintenance of the building.
DOUALA city dwellers remain disgruntled to the high cost of lodging in the city, blaming government for allowing landlords to just increase rents at their whims. More than 90% of landlords are reputed for asking one-year payment upfront plus caution. Inhabitants also frown at real estate agents for further complicating the situation. More in the following story.
DOUALA is listed as one of the towns with the highest cost of living in Africa. Getting a decent lodging wherever they site remains a veritable nightmare for all. They all describe lodging as the most difficult thing in an economic city where cost of living remains high.
Excessivement cher.
Houses are just too expensive in DOUALA. In short, it's the most difficult thing to lay hands on.
Le loyer à Douala, c'est la magie, vraiment.
Getting affordable lodging is a nightmare, just too expensive, difficult for a student to cope. Most of the city dwellers we spoke to blamed the skyrocketing lodging costs on landlords who increase rents at their whips. More than 90% of landlords are reputed for asking one-year payments upfront plus a caution. Real estate agents who acts as middlemen further complicates the situation. When someone wants to get a house through us as agents, we have a commission of at least a month's rent plus 5,000 francs transport fare. Without these agreements, we can't do the job. There was once I got an agent. I was forced to pay him transport even when I did not like the house. I had to search for my house myself. Plus construction material and place his rent at giveaway. He has to put his life savings on that. Does the Cameroonian law regulate the sector?
There is no laws that tells or determines the landlord on how he or she should charge the tenants or the lessee, and makes life very, very hard on the part of the tenant. Because the landlord tells you that, okay, for this house, this amount you need to pay, and you agree with the landlord. Probably at that moment, things are things will go on with you.
However, the wish of many to see government step in to regulate the sector.
In the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, the health areas under Njongolo Health District is among the 11 others in the Central region concerned with a feed campaign to run up to August 20, 2023. More in the following story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamu.
The Emana Health area under the Njongolo District Hospital crowded this August 16. A turnout to benefit from the free reactive vaccination against cholera. The sad memory of over 700 cases and 50 deaths, the life-saving opportunity, one not to miss. And after the Deputy G of Yaoundé 1, Country Director of the WHO, and other authorities, children like adults took their place on the line for the single oral vaccine dose.
We had about 4 cases that died here in Cartier because of cholera, and many people were contaminated. So when I heard about this vaccine today, I had to rush to come here and take my own.
This, as all have understood, that vaccination is the best repose strategy, though others include the care of cholera patients.
Seize
this opportunity to appeal on them to benefit from this action of Public Health Minister, who wants all the population, especially those of Njongolo, to be protected against cholera.
It's my first time, so I advise people to take the vaccine as I've taken it.
This water and food contamination disease can be simply prevented through personal and environmental hygiene, what the population is called to respect. After saluting efforts this far in the riposte and prevention, the World Health Organization thinks more efforts can be done in other sectors like access, water, and environmental hygiene. And lastly, the government of Cameroon is aligning towards the total elimination of cholera by 2030. This fifth vaccination campaign concerns some 11 health districts in the central region, will see the administration of some 1,800,000 doses of the vaccine.
And the consumption of roasted plums and maize is going beyond envy in Cameroon's economic city. DOUALA being a season, most consume them for its availability and others for the nostalgic effect it creates in them. Let's take a view in this report with our reporter, Saleh Sharifa.
Usually consumed in villages, roasted plums and maize is now seen in most junctions in the city of DOUALA. Eaten for its fresh taste, it also remains the consumption of those days in the village. That's what our mom raised us with in the village. So in the city, when it's the season like this, we grab the opportunity to remember the village and not to get full. For others, it brings joy, especially those who have not eaten for quite a long time. It reminds me a lot of my childhood. When our cousins came on holidays, we would go to the farm, harvest maize, we come back home, roast and eat with plums, and derive a lot of joy. I like maize because it's natural. For sellers, it's a good deal because it is cheap and people buy them as they find them everywhere and the price is affordable, which makes them gain a lot. As it is the season, most of them consume it for pleasure, since it's not something that satisfies the belly. It reminds them of the village. It is a snack which does not belong to a particular tribe. So far as plums are eaten with several other complements, maize is just one amongst them, and it has no particular range of people consuming them.
Kaba has become an indispensable attire for many women in the city of Yaoundé, known to be a cultural outfit from the littoral and southwest regions of Cameroon. Most women have changed our sophisticated Kaba and Gondo into modern models to suit their tastes and styles. More with our reporter Beatrice Gamo and a student journalist Paloma Asama via story.
Made of heavy fabric, long to the wrist and down the legs, women wore kaba not only as a sign of maturity, but also of prestige. The qualities of kaba ngondo by Sawa women from the littoral and southwest region, qualities, opportunity many have embraced, associating other material. What has pushed for the different styles and designs today? The trend is more now on mini kaba, characterized by short or mid-length sleeves and mid-calf length, according to the women. Very easy going, they attest.
It's easy to wear, less strenuous and reduces heat, given that most of the materials now are in plastic.
I'm telling you, I feel free in it.
The wearing of short kaba, though appropriate, should also be decent.
I had to wear short kabas, but responsible short kabas, not the type that when she gets down or she bosom, they can see her bosom.
That's why we sew many of those things. Even me, I encourage to sew short things, but not that type of short.
The new style, looks notwithstanding, the original long kaba still remain the best choice of most men for their women.
I like my girlfriend to be well dressed, in the kaba, most preferably in this abaya. This Muslim, this is very comfortable, well covered.
Worth recalling here that kaba originated from a rough lash back with opening for the head and arms that the people from the coastal region called kaba, a deformation of the English word cover that the Europeans created to cover women from head to toe. It is what the Sawa till date prefer, the traditional kaba ngondo.
And over 70 athletes, coaches have been told to embrace new strategies and methodologies that can permit them produce athletes capable of excelling at the international scene. The instructions have rounded up 2 weeks training session in Yaoundé, where they were drilled on such new skills in different disciplines. More with our reporter, Aisencha.
It has 14 days of intensive training for these athletics coaches, drawn from the different regions of Cameroon and drilled on new skills and methodologies for onward transmission to their athletes.
We cover several topics. The first topic we cover was the impact and recovery in sports performance. So we talk about the biomechanics of sprinting, biomechanics of hurdling, and then we talk about dieting with athletics, and we cover relay, we cover weight training, and we cover plyometrics.
The initiative by Youth Academic and Sports Scholarship Assistance aims at empowering the coaches with abilities of detecting and nurturing young talents that can fly the flag of the country higher at the national scene.
We see talented athletes because of ourselves questions. Why did not at the top levels, we have very few getting to the top levels, whereas from the base we see this detected athlete really, really good. So we just imagine from there that if we have to give more stuff to the coaches, they can transmit that to the athlete and the output will be great.
The sports animators rounding up the exercise this August 16 in Yaoundé express satisfaction and promise more outputs as they get back to the field.
So some kind of examples that we have used here, we're going to make it feasible and we're going to transmit it to them. But at different levels, from the junior to the senior teams.
The over 70 coaches had practical demonstrations here at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium after theoretical lessons on each.
This is the brief with Lil Pijou. As we will be back same time tomorrow. Good night.